There are parts of your life that feel almost sacred, even if you've never used that word for them. Not because they are dramatic or impressive, but because they are fragile. You've probably felt that subtle shift before. The moment you share something deeply personal and suddenly it feels different. Smaller, exposed, touched by other people's reactions. In a culture that encourages constant sharing, silence can feel suspicious. But psychologically, silence is not weakness. It is containment, and containment is power. The human mind is not designed for endless exposure. You have a persona, the social version of you that moves through the world, shaped by expectations and roles. But beneath that persona lives a deeper structure, your subconscious patterns, your shadow impulses, your private desires, your fears. When something new is forming inside you, it exists in a delicate psychological state. If you expose it too early, it becomes vulnerable to distortion. Other people's reactions begin shaping it before you fully understand it yourself. Their doubt can awaken your hidden insecurities. Their excitement can create pressure. Their confusion can create self-doubt. Silence protects the forming parts of you until they are strong enough to stand on their own. The first thing you should learn to protect is your deepest goals. When a goal is still new, it lives more in imagination than in action. It is fragile. The moment you speak it aloud to others, something subtle happens inside your ego. You receive recognition. You feel seen. And psychologically, that recognition can create a small sense of completion, as if progress has already been made. The subconscious mind sometimes mistakes talk for action, but real transformation requires internal tension, a quiet pressure that pushes you forward. When you expose your goal too soon, you invite opinions into a space that is not ready for negotiation. Doubt from others can activate your shadow, the part of you that already fears failure. Praise can inflate your ego and make you feel watched. Either way, your pure intention becomes influenced. Let your goals mature in silence long enough that they belong to you, not to the audience around you. The second thing is your financial reality. Money is not just numbers, it carries deep psychological meaning. It touches your sense of security, status, independence, even worth. When you reveal too much about your finances, whether you're thriving or struggling, you invite comparison into your life. If you're doing well, envy and projection may surround you. If you're struggling, pity or subtle judgment can follow. None of this is neutral. The ego constantly measures itself against others, and when money becomes public information, that measuring intensifies. You may start performing stability, performing success, or performing humility. Instead of simply living, you begin managing perception. Silence around your financial reality creates neutrality. It protects your internal relationship with security from being shaped by external commentary, and that relationship is deeply tied to your sense of identity. The third thing is your intimate relationships. When something meaningful is forming between you and another person, it exists in a shared emotional field. That field is sensitive. The more you expose its details, the conflicts, the affection, the private dynamics, the more you break the containment that intimacy requires. Other people begin projecting their own experiences onto your connection. They offer advice based on wounds that are not yours. Slowly, you start seeing your relationship not through your own direct experience, but through the filtered lens of outside opinion. This weakens emotional authenticity. There is also a deeper psychological layer. When relationships become public narratives, the ego can begin using them as identity reinforcement. You may unconsciously display connection to feel validated. But when something becomes performance, authenticity fades. Some bonds grow stronger in privacy because privacy protects the emotional space where trust develops. The fourth thing to protect is your vulnerabilities and wounds. You carry emotional imprints from your past, patterns formed in childhood, insecurities that surface unexpectedly, fears that feel irrational but real. Acknowledging them is strength, but exposing them to everyone is not wisdom. Not every person has the emotional depth to hold your pain responsibly. When you reveal your wounds to someone who lacks maturity, those wounds can be minimized, misunderstood, or even used against you. Psychologically, this teaches your subconscious that openness equals danger. Over time, you may begin closing off, not just from others, but from yourself. There's a difference between processing pain. If vulnerability becomes part of your identity, the ego may attach to suffering. It may start defining itself by what hurt. But when you protect your deeper wounds and share them only in truly safe spaces, healing unfolds without distortion. Your pain is not content. It is sacred psychological material. It deserves protection. The fifth thing is your next move. There are moments in life when you feel something shifting internally. You are preparing to leave something behind or step into something unknown. These transitions are intense because your old identity is dissolving while your new identity is not fully formed. This in-between state is fragile. If you announce your next move too early, you invite resistance. People may question you, discourage you, or remind you of who you used to be. The ego, which fears rejection, may retreat into familiarity. But when you move quietly, something powerful happens. Your actions solidify your identity before it is negotiated externally. You become internally aligned before you are externally defined. Identity is not fixed. It is a process. And process requires space. Silence gives you that space. Philosophically, there is quiet strength in being partially unknown. In a world obsessed with visibility, you do not owe anyone full access to your inner world. When everything becomes public, life becomes performance. And performance slowly disconnects you from your authentic self. But when parts of your life remain unseen, you preserve integrity. Meaning often forms in solitude. The deepest changes in your character do not happen in public view. They happen in quiet rooms, in reflective moments, in private decisions that no one applauds. Silence separates being from appearing, and that separation stabilizes the psyche. You may have noticed that the more you share certain things, the more anxious you feel about them. The more opinions surround them, the less clear you become. This is not because people are malicious. It is because the subconscious mind absorbs social feedback deeply. Your inner world is porous. Without boundaries, it becomes crowded. Goals need incubation. Finances need neutrality. Relationships need privacy. Wounds need safety. And transformation needs silence. This is not about secrecy out of fear. It is about psychological maturity. It is about understanding that not everything grows in the open. Some parts of you are seeds, and seeds do not sprout because they are displayed. They sprout because they are protected. Tonight, when everything becomes quiet, notice what feels too important to expose. Notice what feels fragile, what feels unfinished, what feels deeply yours. You are allowed to have an inner life that is not constantly explained. You are allowed to protect emerging versions of yourself. In that protected space, beyond commentary, beyond validation, your real transformation happens. Not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily. And perhaps the most powerful parts of you will always grow in silence.